Hi, I'm Sue, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the amazing scientific facts that we know about Australia. So as you know, the Bible teaches us who made our world, but science tells us how it occurred. And so Australia is a really unique country because we're an island and we've been separated from all the other nations around us. Our animals are unique. They're not found anywhere else. So we have an animal that looks like this. And I'm sure you all know what this is or who this is. He leaps, or she leaps, using back feet and a tail. And they have a pouch. The mother has a pouch and she will carry her young in that. This one is a very unique animal. And I'm not going to tell you the names of these because I want you to figure out the names. A lot of people used to think that there was no such animal like this because it's got a duck's bill, it's got a beaver-like tail, it's got fur on it, lives in the water, lays an egg, but then suckles its young. Another very unique Australian animal is one that's found in a tree. This animal eats eucalyptus leaves, but only a very special type of eucalyptus leaf, so not all eucalyptus leaves. The mothers also have a pouch and they carry their newborn baby in a pouch, and then as the baby gets older, then the baby will climb onto the mother's back. We have a very unique canine. Now, I don't know, some of you may know what a canine is. Canine is the correct name for a dog. And so we have in Australia a very unique dog that is not found anywhere else. They are all light coloured, so either a light sandy colour or a bit like this colour is here, the browny type of colour. They don't really bark, they have more like a yowl. They are also carnivorous. This one here, you probably haven't seen this one in real life. I have to say I haven't. I've seen him at the zoo. So this one has all thorns over the back of it, so that gives you a clue for his name. And he goes on the ground. So they're just some of the unique animals that we have here in Australia. Only the platypus and the echidna actually lay eggs, and all the rest of them are mammals. But not only do we have some unique animals or mammals, but we also have very unique bugs. And I thought today we'd have a look at some of the different ways that a bug looks. So this is a piece of cardboard here. And what I want you to do is just to make it about 30 centimetres in this direction and about 8 to 9 centimetres in this direction. And what you do is you then cut it out in the centre for a little area where you can put your nose, and you rest the cardboard up against your forehead and then bring it out sideways, closer together like this. This is the vision that a horse has. So horses and rabbits have their eyes more to the side, and so by doing this it gives you an idea of what a horse can see. So when you do it, you'll notice that they actually can't see straight in front of them, but they can see on the side. So if you stand straight in front of a horse, he probably won't see you unless he moves his head. So it's always a good idea when you're approaching a horse to come in at the side, because that way they will see you and they won't become frightened and jump. Another type of activity is to get yourself an egg carton. It's a normal egg carton. You can see here that I've chopped out 2 of those egg carton shells, and what I've done is I've punctured a hole in the centre. And you can then hold these up against your eyes, and that gives you the vision of some of the bugs that we have. So they only have frontal vision, they don't have side vision. So bugs like a centipede, you can come up to the side on them and pick them up if you like to pick up centipedes. I don't. Because they won't see you because their vision is going front. So it's really amazing how God's made everybody so different. So some see out the side, some see straight in front. Other animals see 360, so they can actually move their eyes in 360 degrees, which is really amazing. I have here a little magnifier case, and because it's quack, I can't actually put a real life spider in here, so I've only got some fake spiders. But you can use these bug catchers at home. Put an insect, and then you can look at, and it magnifies it. It makes it very large. Or if you've got a magnifier at home, you can go around and have a look at the insects that are in your garden. We have lots of them. However, you do have to be careful not to touch them, particularly the spiders, because many of our spiders are in fact venomous. That means that if they bite you, you'll be quite sick. And so you don't go sticking your fingers down any holes in the garden. We have some unique birds. This is my kookaburra here, and hopefully he will make his sound today. Oh dear, I think my batteries have died. Yes, well. So this is a kookaburra. Oh, it's all right. He's only just there for show. This is a kookaburra, but one of the ways you can make a sound like a bird is to take a gum leaf. Now we've only got skinny gum leaves around here. I usually try and go for a bit thicker one, but this will do. I can't do this, but other people, like Rochelle, was able to do it. First time, I tell you. So what you do is you take your gum leaf, you put it between your fingers like that, okay? And then you put your mouth to it, and it doesn't work for me. But you might have a go at it. Another thing you can do when you're outside, so you can use those whistles to call someone, but the other thing that I always do, because I find this works really well for me, is I go, block your ears if you've got sensitive ears, because that sound will carry much further than you yelling out, Mum! Dad! I can tell you, the cooey will carry much further. And the reason for that is because to start with, we've got our hands together, so we're acting like a microphone, and you're going, so what I did was when I get to the wee part, I bring my hands out, and that spreads the sound even further. So if you're in a paddock and you're trying to get your mum and dad who are in the next paddock, don't yell mum, don't yell dad, go cooey, because that will carry. The other thing that might be, if your mum and dad are out in another paddock and you don't quite know where they are, so you might want to use a compass. Now, compasses are not normally this big. I've got a really big compass here, just so that I can show you what a compass looks like. So a compass is a circle, and on it we have an N, which stands for north, we have an S for south, we have an E for east, and we have a W for west. North, south, east, west, and then we've got the dividers in between it. So the idea of a compass is that it has magnets on the other end. So I've got some magnets here, and for those of you who have done magnets at school, you'll know that there is a north pole and there's a south pole, okay? Because that relates to, where's my atlas? Up here, right? That relates to our Earth. So on our Earth, we have a north pole and we have a south pole, and we have the equator going around the centre. Okay, and it's exactly the same for a magnet. It has a north and a south point. And you can use magnets, they're really great for picking up tiny bits of metal. So I've used it here just to make a bit of tidy up my mess. So this arm has two magnets in it. Now you can see there's a red side and a blue side, a red side and a blue side. if I have the two blue sides together, they will push each other apart. So you need a couple of magnets so you can do this. I don't know my round ones actually. Oh. Okay, so if I try and push the two red sides together, because they are both north, it's really hard work. But if I put a north and a south together, it will actually attract. Okay? So what we've got here is a north and a south, north and a south. And that's how a compass is made. And what will happen is that, once this settles down, is that the compass will eventually settle down to where north is in this room. So whatever direction north is, it looks like it's going to be kind of sort of, straight in front of me. So what I would then do is just turn the base of the compass so that the needle faces north and south. So I know, for example, that straight in front of me now is north, and this is down that way is south. And so I know that the sun is going to come up on that side of me, and it's going to go down on that side of me. So if I got lost in the wood, and I had a compass with me, and I knew that my home was to the east, then I would find where north is and head east. And then eventually I would find home. Hopefully I'm not going to get lost though. Okay, so there's other things you can do. You can actually make your own compass using a needle, which we will do in the class, but I'm just going to show you here now. So what you need to do is just get a needle, and you've got to rub it 50 times, and you must use one side. Okay, once you've done your 50 on that side, you then turn over and use the other side of your magnet and magnetize with the other side. So that means your needle becomes a north-south facing needle. And you can pop it into a styrofoam ball, put it in a bit of water, and it will find true north for you. So that helps us to navigate. That's how planes navigate, and that's how people can navigate. But when you're in the bush, just say you run out of water and you want something to drink. Well, you probably won't have a bowl, but what you would do is you would just dig out a depression in the soil, and you just grab some green leaves. Doesn't matter what it is, just something that's green, not brown, green leaves. Stick it in there, put a little cup in the middle, wrap some plastic over your depression. Whoops, I've just knocked my compass. Put a rock, where did my rock go to? Over here. Put a rock in the centre. Now, over the day, as the sun heats this plastic, what will happen is that the moisture that has been trapped by the leaves will evaporate. It will hit the top of the plastic on the underneath side and drop down into the centre of the cup. So you can make yourself some water. It has a nice eucalyptus taste, but it makes a really great piece of water. But what happens if you don't have a cup? You've only got a piece of paper. Ha! I can help you there. So what I'd like you to do is to get a square piece of paper. Now, if you only have an A4 size sheet of paper, what you need to do is to take the sides and find out where the top is, and then cut it so you've got a square like this. You then take your square piece of paper, you fold it on the diagonal. That means halfway across. So you have a triangle. Try and get the edges to meet, because it makes it a lot easier. So you've got your first triangle. Okay, so I've taken the piece of paper and I've folded it on the diagonal to make a triangle. Then what you do is you take this corner, so it'll be your right hand side corner, and you put it across to the middle of this triangular side here, like that. You do exactly the same with this corner. You take it and you put it into the middle on the corner like that. So you've got two triangles and then a funny shape at the bottom. I need to put this down to do the next part. What you need to do now is find your two triangles, fold them over. So I folded one down, and now I'm going to fold the other one down. Voila, you have a cup. And so you can use that will hold water. And so you can use that to make yourself a drink if you haven't got a cup with you. And the last thing I just wanted to talk very briefly about today was what we have in our soil. So Australia, because we're an old country in terms of the land age, so all of our volcanoes are extinct. We don't have any active volcanoes. Thank goodness for that, I'd say. But when we did have volcanoes, they caused the development of crystals. And you can see here that this is a rutilated quartz. And you can see here that it has flat planes. All crystals will be exactly the same. So it doesn't matter how tiny they are, they all have that same shape. So this is an amethyst crystal. And this is how we find amethysts. So this has been thrown out. I haven't got two of them, but anyway. This has been thrown out from a volcano, and somebody's come along a little bit later and just found a piece of rock and thought, gee, that looks pretty interesting. And they've taken a hammer and they've smashed the rock and they've opened it up, and it has an amethyst crystal inside of it. Sometimes they might just be a plain quartz. And so this is a plain quartz, and you can see that there's a band of milk and then there's a band of the crystals. Now, we polished this so that it looks very nice. That's not how it would be in normal life. It'd be like this. So where those crystals are in this one, you'd have that roughness as well. That's another type. This is a quartz crystal. And this is one you'll often see, the white crystals, quartz crystals, still around here in Sydney because there's a lot of this because of our clay soils. This last one is a piece of what we call boulder opal. So it's an opal, but it's found in a boulder, a bit like this. And these are from Queensland. And what happened was when the lava was running over the soil, it hit some sand and it's melted the sand, and it's caused opalized reaction to occur. So opal is melted sand, silicon, and it gives these different colours. So I hope you've enjoyed today's little science session about some of the things that are really unique about Australia. What I want you to do now is I want you to go outside and I want you to start looking around. Get yourself a magnifier, go and have a look at the bugs. Have a look at the leaves that are uniquely Australian. So our eucalyptus leaves, for example, and examine them underneath there, and you'll see little veins, and that's how the tree spreads all of its nutritions through veins, just like you and I have, because we've got veins that carry blood that provides the nutrition to our body to help us to grow. There's one other area that I did forget to mention, and that is the wind. So the wind, we feel wind when hot air comes from the equator, and so this is our world in miniature. When the hot air comes from the equator going down towards Australia, at the same time as cold air coming up from the pole hits it, and so that creates wind. It's obviously also influenced by mountains, so if you've got mountains and valleys, then that will change the direction. But in Australia, the wind basically comes from an easterly direction over the hot months, which is December through to April, and it comes from the north in the cooler months from August to December. And so we get cyclones in Australia, which is when the wind swirls around, and particularly in the northern parts of Australia they get cyclones. And in Australia, cyclones go clockwise. I've got to stop and think about that. Clockwise, yes. And partly that's to do with where we are in relation to the equator and to the north and the south poles. But I think a really beautiful exercise or activity to show this is this one. So you just need 2 plastic drinking bottles. Doesn't matter the different shapes, you can see that here. You need a little spacer, a little spacer that looks like that. Now you can get this from places like Toys and Tails at Rouse Hill have some, or you sometimes can get them online. If you can't get hold of them, then what you can do is you can just use duct tape and tape 2 bottles together really firmly. But this is a lot easier. So I'm just going to do it this way. So you screw the 2 bottles together. You put water in one. I like to put a bit of colour in it, so it just makes it a bit better to be seen, and a bit of glitter. Okay. And what you do is you turn it up and you spin it, and with a bit of luck, it will create a cyclone. So you can see here, like the water spout, that's what the cyclone is over the ocean. And what happens is that it's spinning in this direction. Okay, now some people will say that when water goes down a plug hole, it will always spin clockwise in Australia and counterclockwise in the Northern Hemisphere, but that actually isn't true. It depends on where your plug hole is in relation to the water. But certainly with cyclones, that is very much the case. Just do one more time, and you can see there. So they go, in Australia, all cyclones go clockwise, and they go counterclockwise in the Northern Hemispheres. And in different countries call them different names. In America, they call them hurricanes. In Asia, they call them typhoons. And in Australia, we call them cyclones. So I hope you've enjoyed learning some unique things about Australia, and that you'll go home and have a try yourself. Nice to have met you all. Enjoy the science and learning how God has created this whole universe. Bye.